Who is Kamisato Ayato? This young and accomplished but private man is the current head of the Ashura Commission's Kamisato clan. Oh, and did I mention he likes boba? Welcome everyone, I'm Slick. Today we're talking about the entire lore of Ayato. Subscribe if you want to eat Paimon. Ayato very much has the characteristics of a Hydrovision wielder. He's strategic but soft about it, controlling but in a confident way and not a worrying way. He has his confidants like Toma and his allies and his sister Ayaka, and he's candid and kind about everything. And sly, which comes with being calculating.
Greetings. Ayaka has mentioned you on numerous occasions. Alas, my schedule has been rather busier than anticipated recently, which belated our first meeting until today. Kamisato Ayato, head of the Kamisato clan. Delighted to make your acquaintance.
Though he's a household name in Inazuma, Ayato isn't someone who likes to show his face publicly. He prefers to live a simple life and to just perform his duties as Yashiro Commissioner. Most only know that he's head of the Kamisato clan and an important figure in the shogunate. Not many have as clear of an impression of him as they do others, like his sister Ayaka or Shirisagi Himegimi. He's not a fan of showing off his fighting skills either, only using them when necessary and not making a show of it. Some are uneasy about him because of what they don't know, assuming he has some kind of tricks up his sleeve in the political space. Ayato is unfazed by the impressions of others though, just wanting to serve the shogun. Unfortunately, he's usually very busy and stressed, having to deal with corrupt government officials as well as performing his duty as the leader of the Shumatsuban. Forgive me if I pronounce that wrong. He dislikes small talk, preferring others to just get to the point, and has many methods of dealing with the corrupt officials, usually all legal.
Troubles? Whenever something's troubling me, it must be dealt with, swiftly and comprehensively. And whenever someone is troubling me...
He's not particularly well known due to wanting to stay private and out of the public spotlight, but to those who are familiar with him, he's incredibly kind and respected, which has inspired loyalty from these people. He's also known not to be underestimated. One example is Hiratatsu. Again, forgive me. He claims that he continues to serve the Yashiro Commission in order to pay back the generosity that Ayato showed him and his master. It's also implied that Ayato is the one who inspired Toma to the point of him receiving a vision. Ayato highly values loyalty, trust, and obedience in his allies, Toma being a great example of this.
Trusting another person isn't easy, especially for someone of high status. Place your trust in the wrong person, and it can quite literally cost you your life. But you have placed your trust in me, and of course, I will not let you down. When it comes to pets... yes, I'm definitely more of a dog person myself. Cats are very independent, which has its merits, but you'll only find obedience in dogs. They'll do whatever you tell them to. What can I say? I suppose I find loyalty to be quite an attractive quality.
It's also implied that there have been multiple assassination attempts against him, which is why he values these traits and works so hard to protect himself. Ayato is very mature for his age as head of the family. Years ago, when the Yashiro Commission and Kamisato clan were falling apart, he stepped up into his new role and fixed the situation. We'll get into this more later. He deeply cares for his sister, Ayaka. As per his parents' wishes, he took position as Yashiro Commission in order to protect her. He has stated that he would not forgive anyone who would cause any harm to his family, and he has done his best to ensure that Ayaka has people to rely on when she needs them. He's also risked his life smuggling the Watatsumi army into Tinshukaku. Geez, not again. This was a favor for Ayaka, and just like his sister, he cares for the well-being of the people of Inazuma.
I am confident in Ayaka's abilities, but I want her to be able to hold on to her innocence. She shouldn't have to get personally involved in power struggles, or confront the darker side of life head-on. As her older brother, it's my job to shield her from all of that. Just between the two of us, of course. Sorry, that got a little more private, a little more quickly than I'd intended.
As the eldest son of nobility, Ayato has been loved his entire life. Even though his parents were often too busy to be with him, they always made sure he was taken care of. As he grew older, his father would start a strict training regimen, teaching him all he needed to know to become the family's successor one day. Due to stress, his father's health would rapidly decline, resulting in an early death and Ayato having to take the reins. Thrown headfirst into a political battle to save his clan's position. Most people and politicians didn't respect someone so young as leader. Over time though, he was able to prove everyone wrong, making the Kamisato clan's position more stable and more well respected than ever. After proving himself with lots of hard work and dedication, the Kamisato clan is proud to have a leader such as him, and he's an acknowledged and respected commissioner to all. Both the writing shogun and Yae Miko have seen Ayato as mischievous, unpredictable, and hard to understand. Yae strongly disliking him as a result, but he's tolerated by both as he's been able to step up as commissioner, and he's been able to uphold the shogun's will. An example of him being mischievous is whenever he sees Toma, he always has him try strange types of food, which has caused Toma to be scared of him whenever he sees him.
It looks like I mixed up my salt and my sugar. Savory Mizumanju. Yes, this can work. I'll give them to Toma.
Ito says that Ayato is a warrior and that they're on the same wavelength. He's also easily able to find Sayu when she runs off, despite not having much ninja training, when almost everyone else has difficulty finding her. The Yashiro Commission is mainly in charge of ritual matters on Narukami Island, as well as cultural matters, ensuring that both Inazuma's people and deities are pleased. Luckily for Ayato, the responsibility isn't entirely on him. Ayaka shares in much of the clan's responsibilities. She usually handles the interactions between the commission and the people, while Ayato focuses mainly on governance. Having to deal with officials from other commissions and clans is difficult to deal with. Politics and tasks get more difficult with more people involved. One of Ayato's best strengths is his ability to deal with these matters. He sees that people are driven by interests, so focuses on finding leverage for cooperation. By doing this, he's able to solve most matters while pleasing both sides. It's interesting to see Ayato's ways of negotiating. He's in no way competitive, even going as far as to share his benefits so that everyone is satisfied. Many people question what he's up to, but does anyone really care once they all have their piece of the pie? Over time, Ayato has gained a lot of respect in the shogunate, many coming to him to solve the most difficult issues. He won't just help anyone at any given moment though, he prioritizes the wants and needs of the Kamisato clan. Though Ayato doesn't get out much due to his work, he by no means lives a boring life. He's actually often rather amused in political meetings. Watching a bunch of old men argue can be kind of funny. Sometimes he'll see one of the staff from Yae Publishing House around, apparently reporting for work. Though he pretends not to notice, he can see that they're just skipping work and, well, maybe accidentally tells Yae Miko. Sometimes he'll stop by a unique snack stand or shop, buying whatever he finds interesting and bringing it home to the rest of the household. Sometimes he'll interact with the yokai around Shinju Forest when he sees them playing tricks on people passing by. And Ayato never says no to a game of Hot Pot with Toma, Ayaka, and the others. These are some ways he keeps his mind entertained. The Kamisato estate is always perfectly clean due to the work of the butler and the housekeeper, all except for one space, Ayato's table. Unorganized piles of books and papers and other random objects covering the workspace. Every time Ayato finishes work for the day, the servants all need to come and clean up the space for the next day. They often find notes written by many people about a variety of things, from what flowers he wants on his table and around the estate, to food and recipes that others have gotten from the traveler, and what ingredients they want in the kitchen, to different notes from servants. This is how Ayato prefers that others communicate with him effectively due to his tight schedule. Unfortunately, this method only makes his table messier. In Inazuma, an old tradition is to pray to the deities and offer cypress leaves, though these rituals lack scale and go forgotten by many. From his childhood, Ayato remembers his mother talking about these types of leaves and how they're sacred and never will, how they symbolize prosperity and have ever since ancient times. These sacred and traditional festivities were important to Ayato's mother. She'd state that perhaps the Kamisato clan of the Yashiro Commission was born to protect the deities. At the time, Ayato had not fully agreed with this statement. He believed that the clan belonged to itself and the family members. Service to a god was merely a job. These types of words could never be said out loud though. Ayato's duty to the clan would take up more and more of his time as time went on, as well as swordsmanship, books, and his father's lessons. As he grew older, he saw more and more how dedicated his clan clan was to the service of the shogun, always hearing that the Kamisato clan stands today because of Narukami's mercy. As such, the clan must defend the road to eternity and follow the shogun eternally. Through readings and ancestral teachings, he eventually figured out why. Elders of the Kamisato clan's failings had resulted in a great loss for the Raiden Gokuden. If not for Yae Miko's interference causing the shogun to show mercy, the Kamisato clan would likely be no more. This was a show of grace, and also a warning. Ayato never strayed from the teachings of his father, even though he still believed in protecting his family and his clan above all else. He saw that Inazuma was sustained by the Electro Archon's protection, and only peace could result in the prosperity of his clan. He does his best to wholly serve the shogun, even if deep down he feels differently.
Everything comes at a cost. And if you aspire to things that most could never dream of, then, naturally, there will be an unimaginable price to pay.
One of Ayato's favorite pastimes is calligraphy practice, something that growing up he found to be very boring. He'd been forced to practice his penmanship to better play the part of the eldest son of the Kamisato clan. Nowadays though, he enjoys transcribing poems as it's a way for him to clear his mind. Also, it helps him look busy with official business even when he's not. Sometimes as a way of procrastination or avoiding certain people. His servants quickly got the impression that he not only likes playing chess, but also very much enjoys calligraphy. Due to talk about this, he often receives brushes and pens as gifts, some of which even being very expensive and from overseas. He's never really tried to clarify any speculation about his love for writing, instead had a wooden case built to store everything that was given to him. New pens are fun to try out after all. These gifts also tell Ayato a lot about the person who sent them. He has 3 pens that he's never placed in the case though. One, which sits on his desk, worn from writing petitions. Another is stored in the bottom drawer of his desk, used by him when he was learning and often borrowed by Toma and Ayaka. And a third, a gift from his mother, stored in a wooden cabinet sealed in a silk bag. This one's special to him. One night long ago, Ayato's ill father summoned him to his room. His father seemed different, concerned, and he asked Ayato many things. If his training was done, if he'd eaten enough for dinner, and how his swordsmanship was progressing. But throughout the conversation, his dark expression hid something that he could not say. Eventually though, after a glance from Ayato's mother, his father reminded him that no matter what happens to the Kamisato clan, he was the eldest son, the successor, and the clan was proud to have him. After leaving his parents' room, Ayato would return to his own. As he entered, he saw a shining hydrovision laying on his desk.
A vision is an eminently useful tool, so it only makes sense to put it to good use. Also, I like to think it's happiest in my possession because it has the chance to shine away in all its glory.
Since his childhood, he had heard that visions were signs of the god's favor born from human wishes. Also since childhood, he wished to one day take his place as the family successor. He wanted to make sure his clan would prosper, and he wanted to take care of his family. Was this a sign that his time had come? Instead of calling the servants to light his lamps, he sat down beside the shimmering blue light. Many things processed through his mind. Both of his parents were unwell, the clan was leaderless, and the competitors began to see that. They couldn't let go of the Shimatsuban, command which had been passed down for generations. Some of the clan's servants could be trusted if the clan's power were to decline. But what of Toma, a man who had come from a different land? Would he leave if the clan were to fall? Ayato was determined not to let his family's clan fall. That night, he sat at his desk with just the light of the vision. When dawn broke, he was prepared to face the world. If you've enjoyed, please hit the subscribe button and let me know who you want me to talk about next.